Welcome to your multidimensional journey. I am Tracy Canberra, and today we're discussing how to get comfortable in the void. And the reason we're discussing that is because we are finding ourselves more and more in the void between endings and beginnings, and sometimes in the liminal space, that space between realities or dimensions or timelines. It can create a lot of confusion and overwhelm where you're not understanding where you are or what's going on. You feel like you're in between, like you're walking the tightrope, that you're neither here nor there. And you're not sure how long you're going to stay there, or how to get out of it, or how it even happened. Again, it can get really confusing or overwhelming. But the truth is that time is dissolving, and we're going to find ourselves in the void or even in the liminal space more and more. I had a client recently that was talking about ending a job and wanting to start another. One ending, moving right into a new beginning. And wouldn't that be wonderful if every time something ended, we could just move right into something better beginning? I would love that in my life. But what her soul told her is oftentimes you will find yourself with 10 endings moving into the void where you can clear and heal, and then 10 new beginnings. It gets a little crazy because remember, we're moving into multidimensionality. It is no longer linear. As humans, we believe linearly. We believe everything is past, then present, then future. But the truth is, time is a construct for humans and it's going away. In 5D, I'm not saying time is all gone. In my experience, it's a lot more instantaneous and we can shift and change and move a lot more quickly. So it's not that time is only in 3D, it dissolves as you go up dimensions, but it dissolves pretty quickly. So when we think of endings and beginning, we end up getting overwhelmed with all of these endings at the same time because what we have been finding, and many of us are going to find for the rest of this year, that when a relationship ends, then soon after the job ends, then soon after a friendship ends, and we have multiple endings at once in many different areas of life. And that creates such overwhelm and guilt and grief and loss and all kinds of emotions. Overwhelm can lead to a major disconnect. And that's the part of being in the void, being in that liminal space between timelines, between realities. But being in the void is actually a beautiful space. And I'll talk about it in a second, but once you learn to get comfortable in the void, you'll be able to do a lot of healing and then creating in that void, which leads to multiple new beginnings. And as a bonus, you being in a great frame of mind, a great state of being for these new beginnings, so you can really run with them. So, getting back to the void or the cosmos or the liminal space is actually the 0 point energy of the universe. It's moving into a merging with source energy. It's actually a very beautiful thing. Back in about 2013, I was working with getting comfortable in the void. I am a bit claustrophobic, and I used to be a lot claustrophobic, and I went into one of my other Earth lives to see what the event was that caused it because I couldn't think of anything in this life that would initiate claustrophobia. And I found it. I had been locked in a pyramid with my master when they passed, and I slowly asphyxiated. And it's that darkness and that not being able to get out and not being able to breathe that gets me still in this life. So I've done a lot of work on it, but I still have a bit of it. And that darkness, that void, when I close my eyes, it's black behind my eyelids, not white. For some people, it's white. But when I move into the void or move into merging into 0 point with source, I move into the total blackness. And that can really trigger some fear, paranoia, hysteria, PTSD. It depends on what your traumas are, what your background is. And so for me, I made it a journey to get comfortable in the void. And I realized that if I could just hold out past the fear when I moved into that blackness, that darkness of the cosmos, if I just held tight and breathed through it and knew without a doubt that my guides and angels were with me and I was moving into source energy, into merging with source, then it would open up and the nothing would become the everything. The darkness would become the light. I would then move from that disconnect and that desolation and that fear into a state of comfort, then into a state of bliss, then into a state of oneness. I would use the void to move into a state of absolute dissolving until I no longer existed. It was all pure source energy. I became the blackness. I became the cosmos. I became the universe. And when I reached that point, I wouldn't stay long before I'd be kind of yanked back into my body. But that time in the void, whether it's in meditation or by locating or a guided meditation, any way you use to get into the 0 point energy of source, into the void, the more you practice it, the more you get comfortable in the void, the more you realize you are not disconnected. You are not desolate and disappointed and apathetic and completely shut down and turned off. No, you are just merging with source energy. It's divine neutral. So that's an important thing to remember when you're having those feelings. Tell yourself, this is the divine neutral, the 0 point of source energy. I am in the void and I am merging with source. And incidentally, that clears and heals and activates your multidimensional DNA so that you come back to yourself in a higher frequency. Now, how does that cosmic void relate to being in the void of life with our multiple endings and beginnings and the void, the discomfort zone that we're finding in between these endings and beginnings? Well, when you have, I'd like to say mastered the cosmic void, but my soul is like, no, let's not use the word master. When you have become comfortable with traveling through the cosmic void of 0 point sourceness, then you will find yourself in a better position to move through, to flow through the voids in reality. The void being the time between the ending and beginning. Whether it is a love relationship, a friendship, a job, a move, you are going to find many, many voids this year in life because there are so many changes. Many of you humans are not living in true alignment, not only with your soul's desires, but with your highest vibration, your highest desires. So, yes, getting comfortable with the void, with that liminal space of being in the unknown between multiple endings and multiple beginnings, will strengthen your beingness. It will raise your frequency. It will empower your state of being, which means you stay in higher dimensional states of being. You become 5D more and more and more by getting comfortable in the void and flowing through the void during each cycle of endings and beginning. So yes, dear ones, it is important for all humans to get comfortable in the void, in the waiting periods of human life, in the cosmic 0 point energy of source, in the cosmos of the universe. Practice being in the void. Get good at being in flow, in the void. And you will find that you naturally begin to use that void to clear out old patterns and programs and beliefs and create space for your higher desires to enter and anchor in. That was the wisdom of my soul coming through. And I'm asking if the archangels have anything to add. Oh, dear ones, we are always with you. So understand that if you wish to practice flowing in the void, we are with you in that process. We will guide you. We will support you in releasing your fears and finding the peace and oneness within the void. For when you do, you will construct the faith and trust needed to flow through the voids in your human life, in your outer reality, which will so quickly lead to the beginnings you have been requesting of us angels, of your guides, of your very souls. Okay, well, this was a short one, but coming up to the June solstice, which is a time of major transformation, as is the full moon post-solstice, it's time to practice being comfortable in the void, flowing through those periods of being in the liminal space, being in the nothing, feeling like you're in limbo. Practice flowing through it, practice merging with spirit, practice opening to the divine and staying divinely neutral. And you will find that transformation becomes swifter and easier.